In this video, we're going to look at how one user can have many tasks, so a one-to-many relationship. So let's go to our workbench here to try to visualize it. So I am going to manually add some data here. And what I'm going to do is do user 1, 2, 3, 4 and task 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's just do that. I'm going to do another task. And let's save that and talk about this for a second. So now what I've done is I have made two more objects, but this piece of data is going to be a task. But instead of just giving it a task and that's it, that makes sense for profile because there's only one profile. But because a user could have many tasks, I'm going to give it actually a task ID. And so this is task 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 5. But notice how both of these tasks belong to this one user. And so again, this is that relationship I was talking about, where the PK is who it belongs to. This is the way we are using or structuring our data for this scenario. The PK is who it belongs to, and the SK is what the thing is. And the reason why this workbench is so sweet to use is because if we go to aggregate data, we see something pretty cool. So now what we can see is that this user is spanning all of these items. All of these items belong to this one user. And so we can get at all of these items through specifying which user it is. And so this is a pretty cool visualization. Of course, this is not what's actually happening. This is not what the data looks like. The data actually looks like that. Like that's how the data actually is. But when we are thinking about our data and how to query it and how to get at it, looking at this aggregate view can really help us understand what kind of queries we can do. And so far, all that we've done is a simple get query. But in this video, we're going to look at another kind of method you could use with the AWS SDK. So let's move over to the DynamoDB table here. I've added another profile just to match our scenario on Workbench. And if we go into our code here under tasks, I have a make file that's basically going to make 3 tasks. It's going to make 2 tasks for user 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 task for user 1, 2, 3, 5. So let's just quickly throw that into our database. So we'll do node make. And now if we refresh this, we can see a bunch more things happening here. So notice that in the task, I had a description cell here, but that isn't so with a profile. It doesn't matter. Because this is NoSQL, we can structure our data however we like as long as we are providing the PK and SK. It doesn't matter what else happens after that. So our data looks quite similar to this now. But now what we want to do is actually query for all of the tasks. So how can we get all of the tasks for a single member? Well, if we look at our file here and look at the get function here, this is a little bit different. So instead of dynamodb.get, which is what we're using up here, so get is to get a single item, but in this case, query is trying to get multiple items. And so there's so many different ways you can query your database. What we are going to do is come up with this condition here. So what we're going to say is we want the PK to exactly match 1, 2, 3, 4. So, well, I should first explain this. So the reason why we do this is because there's some reserved words in this expression. And so mapping it this way just makes it easier to not trip over some reserved words. So this is something I always do. So PK is going to equal this, and then we specify what this means right here, user 1, 2, 3, 4. And so this is the expression here. This is the question that we're asking. And the SK is going to begin with task. So let's look at how we've structured this. Because our ID literally has the task word in it, so I'm not doing that just for visual. This is actually going to help us with our querying. So this is going to be the ID, but I'm going to prefix the ID with the actual word task, which enables me to say, give me everything that belongs to user 1, 2, 3, 4, and the SK is the sort key. We can do these kinds of operations on a sort key. We cannot do that on a partition key. A partition key has to be exactly what it is, but with an SK we can do something like, well, just give me all of the items that begin with task. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do node get, and there we go. So task pk user 1, 2, 3, 4 task 1, 2, 3, 4, and pk user 1, 2, 3, 4 task 1, 2, 3, 5. They both match the condition of the pk exactly this, and then just starts with task. So that is how we would organize our data and how we would query a one-to-many relationship.